Welcome to something to talk about.
Hi, welcome to Something to Talk About. My name is Taco. We're talking about Jonos Bracken today. Happy Saturday morning or whenever the heck you're watching this. I'm putting it out on Saturday. Maybe you're not getting to it right away. But yeah, how you guys doing? You know what this is? This is what, wait, is this what this is? This is what this is. My name is Taco. And yeah, I'm going to be talking about Jonos Bracken. Spoilers for the books and possibly the show. I guess technically Jonos Bracken is in it. He's in like the scene where all the Riverland horses. Well, he does have a horse. Lords are. Why did I say horses? Riverland lords are, and they're all like King of the North. He's there, like he's got an actor who plays him, but like you know he doesn't do any of that stuff. So yeah, maybe this is a let's talk about the differences. The difference, he's a character. All right, cool. Moving on. So yeah, Jonos Bracken. I covered Tytos Blackwood a while ago, and I think it was a little messed up of me to only cover Tytos Blackwood but not cover Jonos Bracken. Like I feel like I'm drawing a line in the sand if I cover more Blackwoods than Brackens. And now I think I've definitely covered more now because this is my second one and I covered one of them twice. But yeah, Otho Bracken and Jonos Bracken. I think of our two Brackens, and I think I've only covered Tytos Blackwood. Maybe. I think so. Yeah. No, I'll probably do a what's the difference for Benchicott if he eventually makes it in the House of Dragon. And if he doesn't, then we'll just cover Benchicott because I love Benchicott Blackwood. Let's go! Jonos Bracken. Jonos Bracken is the Lord of Stone Hedge. I hate the name Stone Hedge. I always want to say Henge. Screws it up. Stone Hedge at the head of House Bracken. Jonos is heavier than Jaime Lannister. It's a weird comparison, but hear me out. But not as tall. He has brown eyes, coarse brown hair on his head and his back, and has very thick shoulders and arms. Yeah, he's got a really hairy back. We learned that in a chapter. Jonos, I'm not making that up. Jonos wears a brown woolen tunic embroidered with the red stallion of House Bracken. When ready for combat, he wears plate and mail gray steel great helm with a horsehair crest. It's pretty cool. And Jonos often glares, frowns, and is braggadocious. Hey, I didn't stumble in that word. I did that word on purpose, and I knew I was like gonna get to it. And everyone's gonna be like, "Taka's not making that one," because I have words sometimes where I'm like, I don't know how to say that. I made it. Screw you guys. All the people who were gonna make fun of that, you have to leave a like now. Oh, also just like and subscribe. It helps my channel. Jeez, you clown. All right. Sorry to be so mean about it. Jonos has 5 daughters from his 3 marriages and a bastard son. No offense. I bet you're a cool dude, but you were born out of wedlock, just like me. Harry Rivers. God. Harry Rivers. However, his rival, Lord Tytos Blackwood, does not believe that Harry is fathered by Jonos. We'll get to that later, but yeah. I mean, all right. Tytos. Okay. House Bracken. House Bracken of Stone Hedge is a old house from Stone Hedge in the Riverlands. It was one of the main families sworn to House Tully River Run. The Bracken lands lie along the Red Fork of the Trident. They rule over wider domains and can field a much larger army than their overlord House Tully. Their sigil is a red stallion upon gold on brown. The Brackens have an old and bitter feud against their neighbors, the Blackwoods. Imagine that, of Raventree Hall. According to the Brackens, there were kings who ruled the Red Fork but were usurped when their vassals, the Blackwoods, they were usurped by their vassals. According to the Blackwoods, however, the Brackens were petty lords and horse breeders who hired sellswords to usurp the Blackwood kings. Whoa, Montagues, Capwits, whatever the name of the characters in the Interlopers, the short story by Saki is. Whoa, feuds. That's it. All right, let's get cruising here. So, yeah, the burning of Stone Hedge. We're starting off really right away, right? So we're jumping right into Clash? No, we're starting right into towards the end of Game of Thrones. So before arresting Tyrion Lannister in the Crossroads Inn, a very misinformed Catelyn Stark has Bracken men-at-arms affirm that Jonos is loyal to her father, Hoster Tully, Lord Paramount of the Trident. Yeah, you guys remember that scene where she's like, I need to arrest Tyrion, so I'm going to make sure all these guys know that they serve me. And then, yeah, you guys remember that. All right, let's keep going. So after the death of King Robert Baratheon, Joffrey holds court and sits on the Iron Throne. He has Pycelle read his royal decrees, right? So this is like right after their like little, you don't want to call it a coup because Ned was never really in charge, but you know, when Robert dies and they like imprison Ned and like they do a thing and they're like, this is Joffrey, he's in charge now, and everyone's like, ah, shucks. Him or Stannis? All right, I guess Joffrey. I'm kidding. I like Stannis more. Yeah, he has Pycelle read his royal decrees. The list of those must present themselves to swear fealty and goes very long. Yeah, it's just a list of a bunch of people, but includes, but are not limited to Stannis, Renly, the Tyrells, Thoros Amir, Beric Dondarrion, the Tullys, Jason Mallister, Walder Frey, the old one, and his heir at the time, and Tytos, I said Tytos Blackwood, the Vances, the Wentz, the Starks, and it goes on and on and on, and then Jonos Bracken. So he is named by name. The new hand of the king, Tywin Lannister, sends Gregor Clegane to attack Jonas' castle. That's very mean of him. In what was later known as the Burning of Stone Hedge, Gregor Clegane and the Mountain's men burn Stone Hedge and the Bracken lands. The Mountain assaults the daughter of Jonos Bracken. I'm leaving it there, and steals or burns the Bracken harvest. Yeah, it's messed up. Yeah. The Mountain does the mountain stuff, and he's a disgusting monster. All right, moving on. After Jaime Lannister's siege of Riverrun is broken due to the Whispering Wood and then the Battle of the Camps, Jonos returns from the ruined Stone Hedge. So yeah, he shows up to Riverrun. Robb's War Council. Robb Stark's War Council is in Riverrun is held at the Great Hall at 4 long tables, right? Lord Hoster is too weak to attend, right? Hoster Tully, his granddaddy, Robb Stark's granddaddy, but in the attendance includes Edmure, his heir, and the Blackfish, his brother, with the Tully bannermen arrayed around them. Jonos Bracken sits as far away from his rival, Tytos Blackwood. Yeah, they're not sitting next to each other. Lord of Raventree Hall. As also in attendance is Jason Mallister, Sir Mark Piper, Sir Steverin Frey, Carl Vance, and Lord Lyman Derry, son of Raymond Derry, who I did a video for. Who else did I do a video for? Mark Piper, and not Carl Vance yet, and Jason Mallister. Yeah, they're all these people here. The smaller number of Northern Lords sits opposite with Robb, Theon, Rickard Karstark, Mage Mormont, Gilbert Glover did a video for him, and the great John Umber did a video for him. All right, I'll stop stop plugging myself. Ew. The lords argue late into the night, with every lord taking full advantage of his right to speak. Jonos suggests allying with King Renly Baratheon against King Joffrey and the Lannisters. Robb, speaking for the first time after everybody has a chance to speak, insists that Renly is not king. The lords protest that Robb cannot mean to hold to Joffrey, who executed his father. Robb insists that Renly cannot be king before Stannis, which splits the room again because it's Stannis. Not a lot of people like Stannis. Jonos surprisingly agrees with Tytos in denying Catelyn's suggestion of peace. She's like, why don't we just have peace? And then those guys disagree because they already had their lands destroyed, and Jonos is a little mad about it, and he has all the right to be. The meeting breaks down into an argument of which king to support until the great Jon stands up and silences them all and names Robb king of the North. Jonos joins the other lords in declaring Robb to be king of the North and king of the Trident. You think just one dude yells that? Like, they're all like, King of the North! And then one guy's like, and the Trident! Who said that? Mel, what are you doing? All right, moving on. War rages on. Yay. Robb gives the River Lords leave to liberate their own seats and lands from Lannister occupation. Lord Jonos Bracken leaves Riverrun with the intent to recover and rebuild Stone Hedge from the Lannisters. He is successful, but is injured in the fight while his nephew, Henry Bracken, is slain. Oh, dang. Well, with Robb winning battles in the Westerlands, Tywin marches back towards Riverrun on the way back west, right? So I kind of skipped ahead. So this is during Robb's like Western campaign, right? So he goes, does all those battles against other Lannisters, right, in the Westerlands. Whoop, that's not the right one. There you go. With Robb doing that, so Tywin marches back towards Riverrun on his way back west. So Jonas agrees with his rival again, Lord Blackwood, that Sir Edmure Tully has devised a good plan to trap Lord Tywin Lannister in the Riverlands. Oh, it's a good plan, huh? Well, unknowingly ruining Robb's plans. Yeah, Robb did not want that. He wanted Tywin to follow them into the Westerlands, but no one knew that because Robb didn't tell anybody. It's fine. I'm not blaming anyone here, but I'm just saying you can't get mad about people's plans that when people don't know your plans. Anyways, Jonas' natural son, Harry Rivers, that name sounds so bad, is revealed to have been killed by the Lannisters. Oh, dang, though it is not, though it is unknown which battle he fell in, but we do know that he died at this point. He, in hopes to get his daughter or her daughters back, Catelyn Stark releases Jaime Lannister. After this, Jonas is cold towards Catelyn. Hoster dies in 299 AC, and so Hoster Tully, Catelyn's dad and Lord of the Riverlands, is succeeded by Edmure. Right at the funeral, at Hoster's funeral, his body is put in a boat and set down the Red Fork by Robb Stark, King of the Trident, and 6 bannermen. Lord Jonos, Jonos Bracken, who we're doing this video for, Lord Tytos Blackwood, Carl Vance, just remember I'm saying Lord in front of all these, Jason Mallister, Sir Mark Piper, never mind, and Walder River's son, Luthor, who replaces Hoster's friend, Desmond Grell, at the very last minute of Robb's request. Yeah, I think Robb just needed to, I think he just read the room at that point. He's like, all right, Desmond Grell, you're really cool, and you're really close to Hoster, and you've been who else I did a video for? But hey, you've been here at Riverrun for a long time, and everybody loves you, but you don't have a giant army that currently hates me right now. So, phrase, you guys want to buy it now? End of the war and more war. Tywin expects that Jonas will yield after the Red Wedding. So they're all talking about the Red Wedding, and Tywin's like, Jonas will yield. A dozen of Jonas's own kin are killed at the event. After Joffrey's death, the new king, Tommen Baratheon, pardons Jonas for his part in the War of the Five Kings. So what did I say there? The Red Wedding happened, and a bunch of Jonas's own men died in it, and then later they pardon them. Later afterwards, King Tommen, because another wedding happened, right? And Joffrey died. And then King Tommen pardoned Jonas. So Lord Jonas besieges Raventree Hall on behalf of the Iron Throne after Jaime resolves the siege at Riverrun. Lord Carl Vance implores him to intervene at Raventree since Lord Tytos Blackwood will never surrender to Jonas. Yeah, so he goes to Riverrun, Jaime does. So this is later on, after the War of the Five Kings, all this stuff. Jaime then leaves King's Landing to kind of resolve a lot of the stuff going on, all the little bit of war that's still happening. And 2 of those very specifically are Riverrun, the siege at Riverrun, and also the siege at Raventree Hall. So when he goes there, he breaks Riverrun, takes care of that siege, and Mark Piper is who I said, right? Or is it Carl Vance? Carl Vance is like, before you head home, you should probably go hit up Raventree Hall because Jonas is taking care of that. But I'm sure Tytos Blackwood would rather die than ever yield to him specifically. Like, you're probably going to get a yield day one as long as it's not in like to Jonos, right? Say Janos earlier, Jonos. Jaime arrives at Raventree Hall under siege by Jonos Bracken. As Jaime rode around Raventree Hall, he saw no crops, just evidence of war, burned countryside, and bodies. The siege here is much smaller than the one at River Run, and much more intimate. I don't know what I tried to type there, but that's what I wanted to. I don't know what I did type there. Interment, intimate. Thank you, past me. Jaime thinks of it as just the latest step in a dance that went on back many centuries. What Jaime is being very poetic here, which is kind of odd for him, right? But he's completely right. This is a siege, but what the siege really is, it's just another Bracken Blackwood dance, right? It's just another step in a dance that's been going on for 1,000 years, right? And he's completely right on that. It's just going to be another thing brought up when they bring up reasons to hate each other, right? Where am I? Jaime thinks of it as just a dance. Yeah. At best, Jonos only has 500 men and no siege towers or battering rams. Clearly, Jonos' intentions are not to storm the castle. Yeah, he doesn't want to, but rather to starve them out. No doubt the siege started with battle and combat and stuff, but now the siege has just been going on for 6 months, like half a year, right? And both sides have gotten tired and bored, and Jaime thinks it's time for it to end. So, yeah. So let's walk in on Jonos getting it on. Jonos and Hildy. Jaime spots a tent that belongs to Jonos, and he enters it past the guards. So the guards like kind of just like let him go by, but they're kind of like, uh-oh, should we stop him? So he enters to find Lord Jonos in an intimate position, like right in the middle of it, right in the middle of the intimate position. They just kind of keep on going, in their throes of emotion. They're kind of caught up in it, right? Like, you're not going to notice somebody walking in. I hope you do, but maybe you won't. And yeah, they just keep going at it until Jaime like clears his throat and says his name. And then the woman shrieks and Jonos rolls up and grabs his sword. And then he goes, "7 bloody hells," Jonos yells. Who dares? And then he like stops himself and then lowers his sword, like drops his sword when he realizes who it is. And he goes, "Lannister?" And Jaime sarcastically apologizes with half a smile. He's like, "Oh, sorry," but he doesn't care. Then he asks if he may talk, and Jonos agrees. You took me unawares, my lord. I don't know how it happened, but I'm sounding like David reads A Song of Ice and Fire again. David reads A Song of Ice and Fire. Go check it out. It's how I listen to these chapters when I get ready for these, and I listen to this chapter clearly because I literally have 4 slides from this chapter, this one and the next 3. So if I sound like David reads, thank you, David reads. Okay, cool. All right, where was I? God, you guys already found it, I bet. You took me unawares, my lord. I was not told of your coming. Phrasing. Jonos says that to Jaime, and Jaime says that he must have prevented his. Well, no one told me you were coming. Yeah, I must have messed up yours. Hey-o. Jaime smiled at the girl who's trying to like cover herself, and Jaime makes a comment about if all camp followers are so modest, like kind of hinting that she's like a sex worker, and the girl says that she is not for sale, and Jonos calls her a prize of war, because she belonged to one of the Blackwoods sworn swords before Jonos. I know I called him Janos at least once. Jonos split his head open, and then he tells the woman to give Jaime a proper look at her breasts. And that's weird. It is weird. Come on, man. What are you doing? That's a bad touch. Jaime ignores him and tells him that he is putting his pants on backwards. So Jaime watches her fumble to get dressed, and he asks her her name, and she says it's Hildy. And Hildy asks Jonos if he saw her shoe, and Jonos gets all mad and tells her to go barefoot if she must, and tries to send her away. I'm leaving it here, but it goes on for a little bit. But that's more Hildy. not so much Jonos. It kind of becomes a flirtatious back and forth between Hildy and Jaime, where Hildy's like, well, what are you up to later? And he's like, white cloak. And she's like, don't care. It's pretty funny. But yeah, it's like, you got a girl at home? And he's like, I have a sister. Which is the same thing for Lannisters and all Targaryens. All right. Jaime and Jonos. So yeah, she flirts with Jaime and then touches him a bit, which is inappropriate. It's Hildy as she leaves. Jaime then asks Jonos how his wife is, and Jonos goes, how would I know? Ask her Septon. When your father burned our castle, she decided the gods are punishing us, and all she does is pray. Jonos then asks what brings Jaime to camp, and asking if it's because the Blackfish escaped. So Jaime asks if the Blackfishes came to see Jonos, and Jonos says that the Blackfish knows better. He actually says, like, he's an honorable man and I like him, but I will put him in the chains if I have to, is what he claims. We'll see. But yeah, and then Jaime asked if Blackfish ran to Blackwoods, and Jonos said that he would have stopped them first. Like, we're sieging there. He's not going to make it to Blackwoods. He claims Tytos is down to rats and roots in there and will yield before Moon's turn. But Jaime says that he will yield by sundown because Jaime will offer Tytos terms. So then Jonos offers him some ale, which he says no to, and then he drinks it himself. Jonos asks Jaime if the terms he seeks from Tytos, and hope that Raventree Hall, Raventree will not rise again. Jonos suggests, Jonos suggests that Jaime taking his daughter as a hostage. Yeah, I kind of butchered that a little bit, but he's like, hey, I think so we know Raventree won't rise again, you should take one of his daughters as hostage. And he specifically, he's like, he really likes this one daughter, right? He calls the girl a, quote, snot-nosed little creature. Hey, we all had a little bit of snot back then, all right? Our immune systems were working. I got made fun of all the time. I had a really runny nose as a kid. Now my daughter does. I mean, she's got a good immune system, right? Is that what it means? Jonos insists that Tytos Lannister promise land to Jonos, and if he subdued the Brackens. Lord Jonos desires to gain east bank of the Widow's Wash from Crossbow Ridge to Rutting Meadow, and then Grind Corn Mill, Lord's Mill, Muddy Hall, the Ravishment, Battle Valley, Old Forge, Buckle, Black Buckle, Cairns, Claypool, like the bases from Primus, Mudgrave, Waspwood, Lorgren's Wood, Green Mill, like the restaurants, Barba's Teats. Am I allowed to say Teats? And Raventree and Honey Tree and all of its hives. So what does he say to that? He then gives Jaime a map with all of it marked. And Jaime says that it's a lot of land. This is a great deal of land, I believe is what he said. And he would be expanding his domain by a quarter. Like, you're going to get a lot of land. To that, Jonos gives him a stubborn look, saying, all these lands belong to Stone Hedge once. The Blackwood stole them from us. Jonos says that Tywin promised them if he subdued Lord Tytos from him. But Jaime points out that he hasn't subdued him, right? You're still sieging him, dang it. Bracken claims that he is owed and that Lannisters always pay their debts and that he fought for them. And Jaime reminds him that he once fought for the enemy, right? You fought for the enemy of the king and you sided with the Starks. Jonos says that he was pardoned for that and he lost family and paid it dearly when Gregor burned his castle and assaulted his daughter. And he's completely right. He was pardoned by the king. Don't be lumping that in with this stuff. Like, Jaime. Jaime tells him the mountain is dead, and as for his father, and as well as his father is dead as well, and keeping his head. Where was I? Yeah, in that keeping his head is more than enough compensation, since he did swear to Stark's only after. Oh yeah. Sorry, I butchered all this, but Jaime won't buck, and he's like, the fact we're letting you live is enough compensation. Which again, I disagree with. Jonos was pardoned for that. He flipped. And then he's like, yeah, but you only betrayed, this is what I wrote wrong. You only betrayed Starks after they were dead. But Jaime specifically says, after the phrase killed him, and Jonos goes, murdered him. Like, no, he wasn't killed, he was murdered. He corrects him. And a dozen of good men of my own blood. He turns his head and spits and says he kept faith with the young wolf and would do the same for them. Jaime says he will get some of the lands since he partly subdued the Blackwoods. Jonos then warns Jaime that the Blackwoods are all turncloaks. Don't worry, we're getting there. The negotiations. I love this art, by the way. During his surrender to Jaime, Tytos agrees to a surrender of a smaller portion of the Blackwoods land than requested. So this is during the surrender. So this is after Jaime goes and talks to Tytos Blackwood. So the scene with Jonos is done, and he's over in Raventree talking to Tytos Blackwood now, right? So he agrees to surrender a smaller portion of the Blackwood land than requested by Lord Bracken. Tytos only agrees to transfer. Here we go. Woodhedge, Crossbow Ridge, Buckle, Lord's Mill, and Honey Tree. Tytos tells Jaime to take a hostage from Jonos as well. These guys are so bitter. It's like, well, if I'm giving up a hostage, you should take one from him too. Lord Tytos Blackwood alleges that to Jaime that Jonos was not Harry Rivers' father, as there was a very little physical resemblance. He takes Hoster Blackwood. So Jaime then takes Hoster Blackwood as he takes Hoster Blackwood instead, right? And then there is a very cold departure from Tytos Blackwood, right? So again, because this is in a Tytos video and I have already went and covered Tytos, so go check that out. There's a lot of negotiations, and instead of taking his daughter, which Tytos really didn't want, he then offered his son Hoster, who's like 7 feet tall. That's actually really funny. So yeah, and there's a very cold departure. I actually really like the saying goodbye between Jaime and Tytos. It's a very there's a lot of don't mess with me hints from both sides. It's great. He has a short ride back to Jonos, who is on his horse just outside of Raventree in full armor, and he goes, I saw them pull the dire wolf banner down. Is it done? He asks. Jaime tells him to go home and to plant his fields. And Jonos says, I trust I have more fields to plant than when you went into that castle. And Jaime tells him of the lands that Tytos agreed to. And Jonos mocks Hoster, the hostage, by saying, any one of my girls could snap him like a rotten twig. So Jaime asks him about his daughters. Yeah, he's like, any one of my girls can snap this guy. He's like, so about your daughters. And then he tells him about them. And then he informs him that he can send one of them to court to attend a Queen and Regent Cersei in King's Landing. So yeah, it's kind of a trap. He's like, oh, you have daughters? He's like, yeah, these are my daughters. He's like, cool, send one to Cersei. Is this how you repay a friendship of Stone Hedge? And Jaime reminds him that it is an honor to serve the queen, and then Jaime rides away. There you guys go. That's where we're at for Jonos as of yet. I do got one more slide, of course, but yeah, I actually really like Jonos. When it comes to where I stand on Blackwoods and Brackens, I used to be way more Blackwood before I actually started making these videos, and I'm a lot more 50-50. And after I've done a video for Tytos and now done a video for Jonos, I actually really like Jonos. I don't think he's that horrible of a guy. Sure, he turned on the Starks, but it was like he said, it was after. He didn't fray. He didn't make a deal. He was trying to keep his family alive after he's lost. He doesn't really have a male heir anymore, right? His family is dwindling right now, and yeah, he's gonna do what he has to survive. And I actually don't mind Jonos. All right. Nothing on the man. Yeah, I couldn't find any theories on Jonos himself, but I did find a couple good reads on the feud itself. So if that's something you're interested, one of Westeros.org, one on Westeros.org called the Bracken and Blackwood case, a crackpotish theory, which I thought was really funny, funny name, by Lemon of Lemwood. Is he friends with Lemoncloak? They make a claim that not only are the Blackwoods from the north, but the Brackens might be as well. It's fun. It's kind of a long read, but yeah, that's kind of what the claim is. Then a small one by Balefire did called "The Brackens Are Probably Right About the Origin of the Feud with the Blackwoods." And that's pretty self-explanatory. This one's really short on Westeros.org. It's a paragraph, and it's pretty much just like, yeah, I think the Brackens are probably right because the Blackwoods came from the north. This is only following of only Blackwoods came from the north. Now I have two videos from you. The first one is a very well done vid by Fantasy Haven called House Blackwood House Bracken versus House Blackwood, a Song of Ice and Fire animated. Yeah. It's fantastic, as all of his work is. He's the opposite of me. He's very polished, very professional. I don't do any of that stuff. So go check it out. And then if you want the complete opposite, here's a funny. If you want to hear a bunch of dudes talk about it in a live stream, we did that on my channel. Yeah, find the I'll try to put it in the ad card. But find my Blackwood and Bracken live stream that I'm actually going to be doing right after I film this right now. We do it in an hour. Yeah, this is me getting ready for that in crunch time. So I filmed these in advance, and now you can know exactly to the moment when I filmed this one. It was right before that live stream. So I know it happened. I hope it happened. It's an hour away. I don't know how well it went, but I'm still suggesting it. So go check out that live stream if you want us to literally discuss everything I could find on the Blackwoods and Brackens, not just their feud, just everything. I got every character I want to bring up and everything. So yeah, go check that out. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe if you made it this far. Sorry about my dumb face and dumb voice, but like it if you like it. And yeah. For sure, check out Fantasy Haven's really well done video. I'll put a link in the description. And yeah, peace.